Hi, I'm Peter J. Ray. Welcome to Adventures in History. Today's topic is John S. Ray's Oberlin College Diary, 1946, Part 19. Continuation of his senior year at Oberlin College in Oberlin, Ohio, USA. And this is the second half of Zook Family Memories Collection number 44, or ZFMC 44, published on February 25th, 1994. April 17th, 1946. This has been a very important day in my young existence. I think that Nancy and I are going to break our engagement. It seems that this business about our differences in music are causing the trouble. She says that she can only be sure she loves me completely by dating some of the conservatory Joes. The only way that can be accomplished is to break our engagement, so that we will both be free to date whom we will. It's a rough way out, but the only way as we see it. We're not going to do anything definite immediately. She's going to try to go home tomorrow over the Easter vacation and talk the situation over with her mother. This is really going to hurt. April 18. This has been one hell of a day. I went to sociology this morning for a change. The little chat on venereal diseases wasn't too bad. It was very strange to go to class. I found out at lunch from Otis that Nancy Wilson left for home this morning. Wes and I drove the old limousine to Wellington and Elyria this afternoon with a load of kids. It drives just like a truck. We picked up a jug of brandy in Elyria, Ohio. This evening I really started feeling bad about Nancy. We took care of the brandy here in the room and had a few brews at the pool hall. Must say I got pretty happy. April 19th. This afternoon, Wes and I drove a load of kids out to the quarry. Then we went out to the golf course and banged the old pill around all afternoon. We picked up the gang at the quarry before supper. I had Patty borrow 5 of Nancy's symphony albums this evening. We played bridge and listened to records all evening up here in the room. April 20. Slept late this morning. Bruce Partridge came in about noon. The 3 of us went golfing this afternoon and had nothing but a good time. This evening we brought some food up into the room and played records and played some more bridge. Hagner came in after supper. I wonder what will happen tomorrow. April 21. Today was Easter, and one of the saddest days in my recollection. Nancy got back this evening, and our engagement is now broken. I still can't believe it, but it's true. I've lost the finest girl that I ever met. I still love her just as much as ever, and probably will for some time. One hell of a situation. I'll just have to chalk this one up to experience. April 22. I stayed up this morning after breakfast and studied, then hitchhiked over to Sandusky this afternoon with the engagement ring and explained the situation to Mother. She was disappointed and laid at least part of the blame on Nancy's emotional immaturity. This whole thing has really given Red a bad time. Red took me over to a show in the art building this evening. Then Wes and I had a few shots over at Brad Warner's, took a case of champagne up to Pat Ross, and went out to Timbers in the Black Witch. We really had an extended discussion of the whole situation. It seems that John Shantz didn't waste any time. They were over on the Gables porch this evening. April 23. I have done very little but sleep today. I meant to study this afternoon and this evening, but just didn't get around to it. Wes and I went to a couple of horror movies this evening, both very good. April 24th. I had a good morning of classes. Art and I went to the lab for a while this afternoon. The 4th floor was whaled by Embassy this afternoon, 18-10. My pitching was bad, and our whole defense was very poor. I studied this evening with numerous interruptions. April 25th. Our trip to Greece on a cattle boat took much more concrete form today. Wes and I took our physical exams this afternoon. Phil helped me with 2 new numbers this afternoon. I worked this afternoon and this evening on my psychology and nearly finished it. The folks came over this evening. Pop gave me $25 as part of my birthday present. Quite a help. The folks feel that Nancy has really pulled a pretty mean trick on me. Maybe they're right. I believe they have given me some good pointers in any event. April 26th. Nancy and I went into Cleveland this evening to see Der Rosenkavalier. I really enjoyed it enormously, the last act in particular. It was really potent stuff. We had a little chat about the state of our affairs. She said that this last week has been a very miserable one and that she still loves me. I wasn't at all convinced and told her so. At any rate, I feel much better about the whole deal. April 27th. I flubbed the psychology quiz this morning. Too bad. It was very cool this afternoon, but Bruce, Red, Wes, and I had a round of golf anyhow. Very enjoyable. This evening I ran into Boosie downtown. I also saw Nancy with John Shantz. Her hello was a very wan one. This whole thing bothers me more all the time. Boos, Raj, Friedman, and I went to Lorraine for a slight drinking bout. April 28th. I very nearly slept through dinner this noon. Wes and I each shot a 50 this afternoon for 7 holes of golf. Not too sharp. We went to a very good show this evening with Charles Lawton and Deanna Durbin. Lawton was terrific. April 29. I picked up a B in our last literature blue book. Should have done better. This afternoon, 3rd floor, Noah walloped us 16-7. I walked only one man, however, and got 4 for 4, so I didn't feel too badly. This business about Nancy is really bothering me like mad. I think I'll try to have to date with her later this week. Wes and I took a load out to Timbers this evening. Rather dull. April 30th. Believe it or not, I woke up in the middle of the night last night worrying about Nancy and feeling sick at my stomach. This business about emotional upsets disturbing visceral states certainly seems to be correct. However, I somehow got a much better hold on myself today. Wes and I played 12 holes of golf this afternoon after my voice lesson. I shot a 49 for 7 holes. Got on the ball with my studies this evening. The weather was just like summer today. May 1st. I think I cracked both the chemistry quiz and the literature blue book. 4th floor was walloped again this afternoon, 16-4. Friedman pitched, in a pretty good game too. I caught and picked up 2 for 3 at bat. Wes and I went to a fairly good show this evening, The Hoodlum Saint. May 2nd. Wes and I played 12 holes again today. I shot a 47 for 7 holes, and Wes had a 38 for 6 holes. Nancy and I took a short walk after supper. Red and I talked the situation over for about 2 hours this evening. I think the picture is clearing somewhat in my mind. This not dating business is going to go. May 3rd. It was chilly this afternoon, but Wes and I went around for 12 holes anyhow. Not too sharp a game. We saw a very good movie on the adventures of Marco Polo this evening. I'm having a little trouble buckling down lately. The Nancy situation is getting much better. May 4th. The weather was pretty rugged today, so Bruce, Jer, Wes, and I played bridge this afternoon. The sophomore banner dance with Alvino Ray came off this evening. Lydia Todd and I went to Rec and out to Presti's. She's still not over the Piliad deal. Seems to be a fine girl. We had a stupid bridge game after midnight. May 5th. I worked breakfast this morning and hit the sack until noon. The folks came over this afternoon and we all went to the B minor mass. Very good. Wes and I took in another good show tonight. I bought a box of cigars this afternoon. May 6th. I slept through till noon after breakfast, then worked on sociology this afternoon before the ball game. We were trimmed by the faculty 21-0. I finished up the sociology reading this evening and had a quick session with Jer and Phil, and then one with Wes on the stuff. May 7th. The Blue Book had one bad question on it this morning. I predict a C+. I had a good voice lesson and played a round of golf. It really pooked us out. Bob Slaughter got a card this afternoon okaying his cattle boat trip. I hope ours come tomorrow. Nancy had Lydia as her dinner guest this evening. Seems screwy to me. I had a long chat with Phil after supper. I'm afraid Nancy isn't the girl I thought she was. It seems incredible that I could have been so blind. I got hung up on my chemistry. May 8th. We played a fairly good game against the faculty this afternoon and only got defeated by 6 runs. Schaefer gave a very good chemistry seminar report this evening on cancer-inducing compounds. I picked up Lydia afterwards and took a long walk. May 9th. We had a very interesting discussion on education this morning in psychology. Wes and I played a very good round of golf while running around this afternoon. I worked on chemistry this evening and got completely caught up. This spectrograph deal was quite a job. May 10th. I am pretty well caught up in everything now. We had the first 4-hour session of the graduate record exam this afternoon. It covered vocabulary, math, biological sciences, and art. Pretty rough in spots. This evening, Lydia and I went to rec. Wes and I were going to double to Timbers in the Passion, but the damn thing got its plugs soaked by the rain and wouldn't start. The muffler blew off too. It was a damp evening, but good. May 11th. The second 4-hour session of the graduate record exam really pooked me this morning. It covered social sciences, literature, physical sciences, and reading comprehension. Wes and I played CSO Bridge with Bruce and Jer this afternoon. We all went to see Passion Flower this evening. Lydia and I thought it was pretty good despite Taylor's comments. I am really shot tonight. May 12th. I slept until 12:30 this noon. Wes shot a 42 this afternoon for 7 holes, the best score we'd had so far. We played bridge after supper at Gables and went to a Western Bad Bascom. Not too bad a show. May 13th. I slept until noon after working breakfast this morning. Took the third and last part of the graduate record exam this afternoon. It was over chemistry and pretty rough. We finally won a ball game this afternoon. Dick, Wes, and I went out to Presti's about 10 for a quick wine. They're very short on beer. May 14th. I slept late again this morning. Something tells me I've been sleeping too much. I picked up a D+ in the last psychology quiz. I'll have to do a little more knuckling down for Mr. Finan. I had a pretty fair voice lesson this afternoon, and then helped Red in the chapel for about 3 hours. Wes and I played a little bridge after dinner. This existence is driving me nuts. May 15th. Wes and I finally got our hair cut this morning. I read some very fascinating stuff this afternoon. The 4th book of Gulliver's Travels. Our softball team took another whipping. Hagner came in after supper. He, Wes, and I took in the dress rehearsal of the CRD variety show. Bernie's band was great along with Kaza, but the rest wasn't too sharp. May 16th. It's been raining out nearly all day. I worked on my psychology this afternoon. Gretchen Engstrom asked me to the Baldwin formal this noon. Damn it, it's the same night as the Dascom formal. Wes and I went to the show this evening. The variety show is a big success this evening. May 17th. Lydia and I went to Natalie Henderson's recital this evening. The crowd was the largest one that's been in Warner for some time. Her playing was magnificent. She played the Appassionata and Rachmaninoff's second piano concerto with the Conservatory Orchestra. It was absolutely inspiring. She really brought down the house. The audience just couldn't seem to applaud long enough. May 18th. I think I did a little better than I planned to on the psychology quiz. Wes, Tom Smith, and I played golf this afternoon in the rain. I shot a 43 for the last 7 holes. Hirsch nabbed us, and we're going to have to fork over $6.18 each. I had a fine time tonight with Lydia at Rec. We had a very interesting discussion. May 19th. We got into a big bridge session last night that lasted until 4:30 this morning. Quite a stretch. The folks made it over promptly at 9, and we left for Cleveland. We had a good dinner and saw a tight ball game between the New York Yankees and the Cleveland Indians. Pop gave me $10 for my birthday, besides going to the ball game. A good day. Dad also had my withholding tax money. I can certainly use it. We had a short bridge session at Gable's after supper, and I'm sacking it early. May 20th. I stayed up this morning after breakfast and got quite a bit accomplished before noon, then worked off an experiment this afternoon in lab. Wes, Raj, and I made a little trip out to Presti's later this afternoon. We had a fine time. Played some bridge and worked on a chemistry report this evening. May 21st. I slept late again this morning. Had a pretty fair voice lesson and one round of golf this afternoon. Wes shot a 74 and I shot a 64. Not too sharp. Had nothing else to do this evening, so I hit the books. Something's going to break before long. May 22. Dr. Taylor was right on the ball this morning in class. Went through a very easy experiment in lab this afternoon. We lost another ball game today. I got quite a bit of work done in chemistry this evening. Wayne Duff is coming out over the Memorial Day weekend. May 23rd. This train strike deal is really getting serious. The strike is to go into effect tomorrow morning. Wes and I played 18 holes of golf this afternoon on a beautiful, sunshiny course, and I wrote several letters this evening. May 24th. I got into a discussion this morning in class with Dr. Taylor about the relative merits of liberal arts training and technical training. Wes and I played another round this afternoon. I shot a 58. Woods on the fairway make all the difference. I read through my psychology this evening. This Freudian psychoanalysis stuff is very interesting, but for the most part with no scientific verification. I picked up Lydia at 10 at the library. We discussed contraception, most of the while in relation to a religion paper which she is writing. May 25th. I picked up an A on the last psychology quiz and a D+ on the last sociology blue book. Interesting. Then I helped set up the Gables Carnival concession this afternoon. The carnival was a big success this evening. Lydia and I went to a composition recital first, which wasn't too bad. The Gables fashion show was very good, also the Talcott skits. May 26th. I stumbled over to Gables this morning and worked breakfast. We cleaned up our room this morning. Brought in George along with a lot of furniture. 404 really looked like a lounge this afternoon. The crowd was not nearly so large as last time, but the open house was okay. Nancy stopped in for a while with Lloyd Leitz. It surprised me somewhat. We had quite a little chat. Jane Grey and I went to an excellent movie this evening, Gilda. May 27th. It's been raining nearly all day. I finally heard from UCLA this morning, and it's no soap there. It's probably just as well, though I hate to think of going to work next fall. Things just don't seem to be working out this semester. I'm having some small difficulty with the Greek deal also. Worked off another experiment this afternoon and wrote it up this evening. May 28th. I had the whole evening off, so I worked on Vanity Fair. Nancy made Phi Beta Lambda. The announcement of the awards was made this noon in chapel. May 29th. Mr. Kurtz is going to try to trip me up on my German sometime next week. I worked on chemistry this afternoon and lost another ball game. Then read part of Wuthering Heights this evening. I'll be able to screw off now while Wayne Duff is here. May 30th. Wayne Duff and Andre came in this morning about 9. It was really great to see the lads again. Duffer seems well pleased with his job. We had a big session out at the Vars this morning, a big time. This afternoon we took the Passion out to the quarry. Fine. We all went to the wreck this evening and out to the Grandals' apartment. A very well-furnished little place. Jane Grey is quite a contrast to Nancy. May 31st. We took the Passion out to the quarry this afternoon. It cooled off shortly after we got there and started to rain, but we had a good time anyhow. We all went to the house wreck this evening and took our dates home about 10. Then we had a little party up at the Grandals. Very fine. I got a buzz on before supper and had One hell of a time with the trays at Gables as a result. June 1st. One of the Passion's tires was down this noon, so we had to put on the one with the tear in the side wall. We saw the big track meet this afternoon and watched Harrison Dillard break records all over the place. He's a beautiful runner. I went to the Baldwin Formal with Gretch Enstrom this evening. We went to Una Nilsson's wedding and reception first. A pretty decent time. June 2nd. I slept late this morning. We all had a big session at the campus after dinner with Wayne Duff. We drove him over to Elyria late this afternoon to catch his train. He's one fine guy. This evening, Jane and I went to the class picnic in the Arboretum and had one hell of a passionate time afterwards. June 3rd. I talked with Dr. Holmes this morning about job prospects. He gave me quite a list. We eased the Passion out to the quarry this afternoon. I don't think the right front tire is going to last much longer. We won a softball game from White House this afternoon by forfeit. I knuckled down and finished Wuthering Heights this evening. I'm inclined to agree with Dr. Taylor's analysis of it. Heathcliff and Kathy's love for each other was such that they could never be separated. June 4th. I picked up a 98 on the last psychology quiz. My stock is going up in that course. I knocked over another experiment in lab this afternoon. Also knocked out 5 applications for jobs. We played bridge after supper. I drew graphs for 2 hours this evening. I'm afraid I'm getting a cold. Damn it all. June 5th. I clipped off another 10 in physical chemistry this morning. It brings my average up to an A+ in the course. Dr. Taylor was good again this morning. I managed to get by Mr. Kurtz this morning, so I'm in there. Wes and I worked over 2 hours on Mother Richard's screens this afternoon. Nancy asked me to her reception, but I'm not going to go. I spoke in Vespers this evening on rather short notice. I'm getting one hell of a cold. June 6, 1946. I finished up the job applications this afternoon and Mother Richard's screens too. This cold is really starting to bother me, and I'm sacking it early. June 7th. I was feeling so lousy this morning that I went to bed with this cold, then went downstairs this noon for some lemonade and orangeade, and ran into Mr. Wilson. He was very cordial. It was very warm this afternoon, so I tried to sweat out my cold. Wes and I played a round of golf this afternoon. I wore a flannel shirt, sweatshirt, and raincoat. My cold is much better this evening. Janie and I went to rec and then to Nancy's recital. It was very good, as I had expected. Her mother hailed me afterward and let me know that she had nothing to do with the broken engagement. I wonder. Janie and I had a very interesting chat about the whole thing afterward. June 8th. Wes and I played golf with Janie this afternoon. We both did very poorly. The Gables porch party this evening was quite a booming success, I should say. Janie and I had quite a time afterwards. June 9th. I slept until noon today. The Passion is rolling again, but just barely. Wes and I played around 18 holes of golf this afternoon. Wes had a 51 on the second 9, our best score. Janie and I went to the show this evening. A good day. June 10th. I worked on job applications this morning. I doubt very much if I'm going to be able to pull off this slough deal in German. I slept a while this afternoon and worked off my last experiment and heard from the steamship line this afternoon. I'm applying now for a job as a steward for a trip through the South Pacific. Glenn Wright came up this evening and we all had a fine old bull session. June 11th. It's hard to believe that in 2 weeks we'll be graduated. We still have no word from Greece. The first hailstones of the season fell this evening about dinner time. We play bridge every night now after dinner at Gables. I worked off my last chemistry experiment this evening. June 12th. I finished up with 1,020 pages of scientific German this morning, then turned in my last physical chemistry experiment and took the 20th chemistry quiz of the term also. I worked on sociology this afternoon and finished it up this evening, and had a big discussion with Wes on Wuthering Heights. June 13th. This has been one dull day. I got a batch of letters this morning from my job applications. None too fascinating. Then worked all afternoon and evening with Red on physical chemistry. June 14th. I didn't do quite so well as I thought I would in physical chemistry this morning. I predict a B+ for the course. Wes and I had a very slow 9 this afternoon. This evening, JR, Wes, and I had a very good session on sociology. June 15th. Wes and I both slept clear through until noon today. Father Mac raised my exam grade from 77 to 82 when I went in to see him this afternoon. He said it'll probably be B+ for the course. The literature final was a lot of bull this afternoon. I picked up a B+ on the last literature blue book and predict B for the course. Janie and I had one hell of an unusual evening. Almost left her about 10:30, but then got matters all straightened. We had a whopping big session in the back of Mary Duncan's car. June 16th. This has really been one fine day. I worked breakfast and then went back to bed until noon. After dinner, Len Beale took Janie, Phil, and me out to the quarry. Phil and I reviewed our sociology while Janie went over her poli-sci. The water was really fine after several hours studying. We started to walk back about 6 o'clock and got caught in a terrific electrical storm. I wrapped Janie up in the blanket, and Phil was having a bad time with the lightning. Very fortunately, Mr. Clark met us at the paved road and brought us back to Oberlin. What a riot! I had a very pleasant surprise waiting up in the room. Bert's record player was here, along with a Columbia recording of Gershwin's Rhapsody in Blue. Whether Nancy says it's trash or not, I enjoy it immensely. Janie and I went downtown later on for a little supper. A big branch blew down in front of Dascom and put out the lights in several of the girls' houses. June 17th. I went back to bed after working breakfast this morning. Dr. Kurtz gave me an A on the final this afternoon and an A for the course. Wes and I had a big skull session on sociology this evening. I hope we pass. June 18th. I think we did fairly well on the sociology quiz this morning. I played bridge this afternoon and had a good wine session at Presti's with Clara Postian, then boned a little bit this evening on psychology. I received word that there are no openings with the Stewards Union I've been checking on. Damn it. Dick seems to be having trouble with his finals. To be continued. And we have 2 comments on this passage. The first is from the author, John S. Ray himself. Quote, ZFMC 44 was greatly enjoyed. Although I knew the end of the Nancy Wilson story, I certainly did not remember all the particulars along the way. Those things happened so long ago that it was almost like I was reading about another person. The ever-present tension between academics and outside activities was certainly evident. John S. Ray, Rocky River, Ohio. And the second comment is from Brent Lesheim, a very good friend of mine who's like a brother. Quote, are you still keeping up with your Zook Family Memories collection? The ZFMC? Ha ha ha! Brent Lesheim, Cleveland, Ohio. So that concludes today's presentation on John S. Ray's Oberlin College Diary, 1946, Part 19. Good luck to you with your own efforts in family history, if this is something that interests you, finding, preserving, and sharing old letters, photographs, and diaries from family members, and interviewing elderly family members while they're alive. You might consider checking out our website, Adventures in History with Peter J. Ray at peterjray.com. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. God bless you. Take care, and I'll see you next time.